Hello, happy thriving Thursday. It's Alpita. And today we're talking about how do you expand your perspective and consciousness so that you can thrive and prosper. So before we get into that, what does thrive mean? So for me, what thrive means is that I'm doing well. I'm not in survival mode. I'm not worrying about how am I going to pay the next bill or buy groceries, right? But it's beyond money. It's like being happy, like like having your focus expanded to living a good life is not just about how much money you have in the bank or if your bills are paid or if you have debt or anything like that. It's, am I having fun? Am I enjoying things? Am I doing things that I enjoy, whether it's for money or for pleasure, right? It's more about like waking up and being excited to start the day instead of fuck, I gotta do all this shit, right? It's also saying, for me, it's also saying, at the end of the day, whatever that happens to be, usually for me, it's around like 5 o'clock because that's when I start dinner. Um, it's, I've done enough. That I don't need to keep doing things. That I don't need to do one more task or one more tour or one more email or one more DM or something like that. It's like it can wait till tomorrow. It's not going anywhere. Life's not going to end if that thing doesn't get done today. And it's not an excuse to put things off or to procrastinate. It's like, when is enough, right? Now, prosper, it is specifically about money. Prospering is financial growth and well-being. Okay? So they are different and they are both important in order for you to have the life that you want. So one of the things that I've been working on is like, okay, great. I have money coming in. I've cultivated that mindset. I call them mantras. I like it better than the word intention because, the path to uh what's it called? Um what is it, the path to hell is paved with good intentions, whatever. I feel like some of that stuff is bullshit, and that's one of the things that you need to work on in order to expand your perspective and consciousness, right? If you have this belief of day late dollar short, that's what you're going to create. And a lot of times these things are said over and over again, and our subconscious believes it, even though our conscious mind is like, well, that's just dumb. That's not true. It's not 100% true. Sometimes it's true. Sometimes it's not true. Well, it's getting the subconscious on board. And how do we do that? Well, it goes back to how we learn, right? Like, repetition, which is the whole point of affirmations, right, and mantras, is that repetitive thing. If you are programming your subconscious to accept a new reality, to accept a new belief, because your life is created by your beliefs, period, full stop. It is not created by your actions. You could be doing all the right things and not having money come in, right? Like there's all these rules on like the algorithm of Facebook, the algorithm of Etsy, the algorithm of eBay, but I can tell you that there are times that I go on these platforms and my intention is, I'm going to get a sale today, I'm going to get a client today, and bam, it happens because it's inspired. It's not contrite. I'm not saying it to say it, but it feels like alignment. I'll share a story with you. This was from a while ago, but I don't know, it's just a funny story to me. So I had bought a bunch of stuff when this store was closing in a town over, and one of them was this bolt of fabric, and it was literally like a bolt like taller than me, and it was like this orangey floral velvet fabric. Now, why did I take it? I don't know. The store was closing. I got a lot of things for $25. I got this cute little desk that my daughter and then my son used for a long time. Actually, I just got rid of it this year. So I had it for like 7 or 8 years. I got yarn, I got buckets, I got like all sorts of stuff, right? So anyway, and I got this bolt of fabric because I was thinking of getting back into sewing. So this was before the pandemic, before I pulled my sewing machine out and made, over 1,000 masks, right, for the pandemic. And that bolt of fabric was leaning against my secretary desk right by my printer for 2.5 years. And Like, it would fall over. I'd go over to use the printer. I'd have to move it. It would fall over. It would drive me crazy. And one evening, I was just like, okay, you gotta go. Like, I'm not gonna use you. You need to go to someone else, right? And I pulled the fabric off the bolt. I measured it. I folded it. I took a picture of it and I put it on eBay. Now, mind you, my eBay account had, I've been doing eBay sales for a long time. And so there were things on my eBay account. I didn't post regularly. I posted whenever I was inspired, right? I put it on there. I did a little research. Turns out this velvet was, such and such name. Like, that all fabric has a name, right? The design has a name, and blah blah blah. And it was a significant amount of money. So the number 626 is very significant to me. I'm not going to go into the whole story. I've talked about it before. So I put it on there because it was like two or 3 yards. I don't remember. And I put it on there. It's for $62.60. Buy it now. He sent me a message and said, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I've been looking for this fabric to finish a project for 2.5 years." And I messaged her back and I said, "LOL, I've had this fabric like leaning against my desk in the way of my printer for 2.5 years." And now, mind you, I live in Connecticut and this woman lived in like North Carolina or something. So when the stars align, when things are in alignment, when you get that impulse of like, now, I'm going to do it now. And I have resistance to divine timing because it feels like it's not, life isn't in our control. And some things aren't. Like, I don't control the weather. It's been fucking raining here for like 3 days. Probably going to rain again tomorrow. So we can't go to beach tomorrow. We'll go on Saturday. It's no big deal. But it's like, I resist this concept of divine timing because it's like, it makes me feel like my life isn't my own. Like, I don't have control. But I do have control over things. I could have posted that fabric 2.5 years earlier and it could have sat on eBay for 2.5 years till she found it. I could have sold it 2.5 years earlier if I wasn't like, well, I'm going to do something with it. So, whatever. Divine timing or not, when we are in alignment, when we make a decision, because really that's the point, is when we make a decision, when we decide that something's going to change, something's got to give, this isn't working, I don't want to do this anymore, blah blah blah, and then we decide what we do want to do. It's not enough to say this isn't working. You have to say, this is what I want to do, this is what is going to work for me. And I love Mike Dooley because he's like, sometimes it's just like, you just got to pick direction and go, and the universe will recalc and reroute you if it's the wrong direction. Because that's the biggest thing, is like, a lot of times we're scared of making the wrong decision. Okay? And yes, some decisions are irreversible. Okay? But most of our decisions are not. We can change our mind. We can go in a different direction. Okay? Like, you might have noticed, I'm doing, well, ChatGPT says it's not rebranding, it's revealing. Whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm changing things up. I'm renaming things. This will probably get renamed, like, whatever. And I'm doing it slowly. I'm not, if I waited till all the pieces were in place and then put it out there, I would never do it. So I'm doing it slowly. So Transformational Tuesday is now the Cosmic Compass, where I talk about astrology and I pull oracle cards. And it cosmic, like, encompasses astrology and, tarot readings and things like that. Yesterday, if you noticed, that on Wednesdays, it used to be Worthy Wednesday, it used to be the Worthy Wednesday spell. It's still about Worthy Wednesday. It's still about cultivating these feelings of worthiness and deserving. These spells are more like enchantments. It's for you to say it, and you can take those enchantments or spells or whatever you want to call them. I renamed it a ritual in words, because when I was working with ChatGPT, we were trying to find a name, and he's like, oh, it's a ritual in words. And I was like, I like that. Let's just do that. Don't make that the tagline. Make that the title. And I'm not crazy about the graphic that I created, because I have the Dream AI app. I've had it for years. And Sorry. my I have a Target order being done right now. So I like snow peas. No snow peas. Snow peas are really good. Snow peas are the ones that are in the flat pods. Usually you'll see them in like Chinese cooking. And they're really good with hummus. Snow peas, carrots, hummus. Great little like... Anyway. Just my little tidbit there. Um, nah. They don't have my paper towels. That's okay. We've got enough paper towels. um, so what was I saying? Oh, I'm not. I'm using this Dream AI app to create my graphic, and you only get 5 a day for free. And I just, yeah, it just I couldn't get the graphic right, so I just put something up there. Like sometimes we feel like it has to be perfect. Like this shirt. Okay, I took the sleeves off, and I cut the sleeves off, and it still needs to be hemmed. But you can't tell that unless I tell you that. And I have a whole pile of them. And if I did not wear them, if I waited till they were all done, I wouldn't have as many tops as I have. Now I'm going to start going through them. Like I've dedicated one of my afternoons this afternoon to do a little bit of that sewing. I've got some other sewing projects I'm working on today. And I'll be hemming some of these, but it's like sometimes we feel like we have to be perfect. And I've said this before. If like I had to put on makeup, which I do not wear at all. I haven't worn makeup since before the pandemic, and like get my hair all perfect. And again, I'm not judging people who do that or do that whole get ready with me thing. It's not my thing. This is what I look like on a day-to-day basis. This is literally what I'm wearing today. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? I'm not teaching you how to be glamorous. I'm not sharing with you my skincare routine or my hair routine or anything like that. I'm here to help you, like, literally let go of all the things that are not letting you be yourself. Help you reveal your most authentic self. Your most authentic, thriving self. And I talked about this on Tuesday. Like, your survival mode is authentic. That's authentically who you are when you are in a survival situation. But we are not designed as human beings. Nothing on this planet is designed, no animal, no being is designed to be in survival mode 24/7, 365. Okay? We are meant to thrive. That tree doesn't stop growing. It's like more water, more sunlight. Let me grow. Okay? It does not allow itself to be limited. And you might be like, well, it's not sentient, so of course it doesn't have thoughts. But it's like, but think about it. What if we allowed ourselves to like take the limits off? Take the caps off. Take the governor off and allow ourselves to be ourselves. Okay? So today I want you to think about it. Like, I know for me, one of the ways that I change my perspective is I look at what I'm creating. So right now in my business, I'm creating enough money to pay my bills with money left over, because that was my mantra. And that literally was, I talked about this months ago. My mantra was, and money left over. Like literally, that was it. That was it. And I would use it like when I would look at my bank account. I would use it when I would place my Target order. I'd be like, okay, I got groceries and money left, and there's money left over. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't need to use flowery language. Use language that like really feels good and resonates. And sometimes it's boring. And money left over. Let me tell you, when you pay your bills and you got 12 cents left and you're not sure how the rest of the money's going to come in for the next week's bill, and money left over is a fucking phenomenal mantra, affirmation, intention, whatever. Okay? So, you know, You can say I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy, but if it doesn't feel right, it's not specific enough. There are some of us that need very specific language. People talk about tapping into the feeling. Neville Goddard. That is a non-specific manifester in human design. We are not all non-specific. I am a specific manifester. Okay? When I have a number to like focus on, my mind goes to that number. It will create that number. When I was waitressing, I would literally go in and be like, okay, I need $200 in order to get groceries and get gas or whatever the thing was. And I would manifest to the cent. I mean, I didn't count the cent, so to the dollar. I remember one time, it was a Sunday. It was Super Bowl Sunday, actually, in 2012. And one of my coworkers needed $97 to pay her rent. That was what she was short. And I went in there and I kept saying $97 for Daniela. $97 for Daniela. I wanted to manifest for her. And I had just done a tarot reading and I had made $50 at this wedding expo. Someone I knew, who knew me, introduced me to someone who needed a tarot reading, and I did a tarot reading for her at Starbucks, and I already had $50 in my pocket. So like almost, a chunk of the money that I needed was already in my pocket. So I was looking to manifest for her. And she was all negative. Okay, and I get it. When your bills are due that day or the next day, it's very easy to go into the negative, because what that does, that's how we were designed. That's the reptilian part of our brain, right? And it's looking for, when it goes into the negative, it's looking for what's the plan B. There is a purpose to your negative thoughts. They are to motivate you to find a plan B. But here's the thing: what if you just didn't go into the negative? What if you caught that train of thought and said, no, this is what's going to happen. That $97 is going to come in. I don't care if it's Super Bowl Sunday. I don't care if nobody's out, because we were waitresses, right? I don't care if nobody's coming to the diner. I'm going to walk away today with $97. And what ended up happening was Daniela got upset and she wasn't making the money she wanted, and she asked to leave early. And little did she know that I was going to give her that $50 to help her make her thing. And because she was in such a rush and like not not open to that money. She was like, it's a Sunday, it's Super Bowl Sunday, everybody's home watching the game, nobody's coming to the diner. So she believed, her perspective was, it's not going to happen. And so she cut her nose off to spite her face, as the expression is. Had she been open, had she been like, you know what, I'm going to stay till the end of the shift, you never know. You never know. I had like people who, like, sometimes there'd be like, a lonely person who's sitting at the counter and just having a cup of coffee, and you talk to them and you remind them that they're human, you remind them that they matter, you ask them about their day, and they give you a $20 bill and tell you to keep the change. And you just made like $18 or something. Tip. You can't look at, like yesterday, it was supposed to pour all day, and we had bouts of sunshine. It did pour in the morning, and then it poured at night, but it's like, you never know what is going to come of it, and it is your attitude that determines your latitude. And your attitude comes from your beliefs, and your beliefs come from the thoughts and the words that you are constantly repeating over and over again. Okay? But again, the reason that I'm not a big fan of like affirmations, traditional affirmations, is because they're very flowery. They're very like, it's not true. And so when your brain has that cognitive dissonance of like, I'm saying I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy, but it's not happened yet, it doesn't feel true. So sometimes we have to, like Abraham Hicks talks about, it's like, how can you get to the next rung? Don't look to get to the top of the ladder. How can you get to the next rung? Okay? So you're not looking to go from, 12 cents in your bank account to millions, although that can happen. You can win the lottery, whatever, who knows, an inheritance, a long lost uncle left you tons of money, a castle in Scotland, who the fuck knows, right? You're just looking to get to the next step. So it's like, how do I do that? For me, it was, my business pays all my bills. Okay? Then it was, and it was doing that. So I kept saying that, I kept affirming that, and every time I pay my bills, I'm like, look, my business just paid my bill. Because that's the second part of it, is like when it happens, to affirm it, to look at it, to show your brain evidence, to show your subconscious, look, I just made money, and that money paid the bill. That money paid the groceries. Just bought groceries, I paid for that. Be like, oh, look, I'm watching my Target order as we talk. Look, this 40 some odd dollars order, I paid for that. My business paid for that. Right? So acknowledging it when it happens, because that's, I think, a step that people miss. You gotta feed your brain evidence, because that's what happens is you have a belief, you create something, and then that evidence reinforces it. It's a feedback loop. If you do not look at the evidence, if you wanted to manifest, like, let's say $250 and you manifested 50, you have to be like, look, I just got $50, so now I only need 200. That's what I did when I was waitressing. And going back to finish that story, because like, oh, my brain needs to complete the loops, close the parentheses. I manifested $97 that night. The only person who made any money that night, because I was focusing on the $97 for Daniela. I manifested $97 and not even counting that $50. So I ended up ahead that night because I had already made money that day, and I kept saying $97 for Daniela. Well, we can't always manifest for other people. Okay. So I walked away that night, and I remember counting my money and being like, mother, I made $97. And I would have helped her if she had just stuck around till the end of the night, and you know what I mean? So sometimes we miss out because we are looking for it to come from one direction, and it might come from another direction. That's the other thing. Okay? So when my tax refund paid my bills earlier this year, right? What else? I had some other money came in. Like, I do market research studies. I sell things that I don't need on eBay as well. I don't just sell my own products. I sew. I make jewelry. There's a myriad of things that I do. Sometimes I get, like, there's class action lawsuits all the time. Go look it up. It's a thing. And, like, you bought this product and they overcharged, or there was a problem, and you get money back. It's freaking easy. 9 times out of 10, you don't even have to put proof. Sometimes you get a postcard in the mail and it's like, oh, this thing, whatever, there's a recall and we're going to give you your money back. There's so many ways to make money out there without getting a side hustle, without like doing things that you don't want to do. Okay. And that's one of my things is like, for me to thrive, I need and prosper, I need to do things that I'm willing to do. Okay. Not things that I don't want to do. Hold on, just gotta check my order here. Okay. So anyway, so it's those little baby steps. So I went from my business pays all my bills to, and there's money left over, and now I'm working on 2xing my income. That's the goal. So every time I need money, I'm not setting an intention. So let's say I did need $250 to pay a bill or whatever. I would ask for $500 from the universe. And I'm not saying ask for it. I would say, okay, by the end of this week, I will have $500. Okay. And there's other things I use. I use spiritual mind treatments. If you don't know what that is, go look up Ernest Holmes. There's a whole movement. There are Center for Living centers all over the country. It's called religious science, and it really is about like priming the pump and training your subconscious in order to bring that experience to you. Okay, you're training your reticular activating system, the part of you that thrives on pattern recognition, the part of you like when you buy Kia Sedona, like myself many years ago, starts to see Kia Sedonas everywhere. That's what you're doing. Okay, you're giving it evidence of what you're looking for. So that's why that whole feedback is important. So when money comes in, you're like, oh, look, now I only need $200, or now I only need this. And you don't say it in a way of like lack. You say, oh, look, I'm closer to my goal. Kind of like you've seen those like thermometers that like fundraisers have. That's what you're doing. I find because I don't know what this is called. I think I've tried to look it up and I don't think there's a word for it, but I am what's called a subtraction artist. So we have like everybody's creating, right? And like I started out as a graphic design major in college, and when we did, everybody's got to go through drawing 101 where you're painting the nude model and doing still life, fruit and vases and all that stuff. And I had a hard time with that. Okay. I had a hard time with that. And then one time we did our teacher in drawing 201, my second year of college. He's like, okay, you're going to cover your newsprint because that's the kind of paper we used in art class because it's cheap and easy to use. With charcoal, you're just going to cover the whole thing. Okay. And then you're going to take your kneaded eraser, that's kind of eraser we use in drawing class, and you're going to pull the image out of the shadows. And I excelled at that. I also liked photography. I liked playing with the like negative and positive imaging. I really loved not just taking pictures, but like developing, especially black and white. I took a class on color photography, but it's like so much more complicated in the chemicals and in like the processing and stuff, and it just didn't really light me up. But I like the black and white photography because I get to develop the film. I take the picture, I develop the film. I mean, you do that in color photography as well, but like by playing with the image, by playing with what's called the enlarger, which projects the image through the slide onto the paper, you can change the image. You can make it darker, you can make it lighter, you can cover certain things, right? I loved playing with that, right? And basically what I am is the way that I create is by subtracting. Okay. So I use that. So instead of like adding, it's like, okay, I need $500. Okay, I just got $200. So $200, right? Plus whatever comes in today or tomorrow, right? What I do is I start with my goal of 500, let's say, right? And I subtract, right? And it's like, okay, minus 200, I only need $300 more. And then it's like, okay, then I get another 150. Like, oh, okay, now I only need $150. And it's kind of like a game, but that's the way that my mind works. It's like, oh, this is what more I need. Instead of saying that you are short or behind, saying, oh, this is what I need more. It's kind of like the lunch line. Okay, this is the example my friend's giving me. It's like, oh, you get your serving, you get your whatever $200, and you go and you eat that $200, whatever, your mashed potatoes, whatever, and you go back and you say, more please. See how that's a different perspective than you're short, you're behind, you're lack, or whatever. You don't have enough. You're focusing on not having enough instead of saying, oh, more please. Right? Like my kids will say, oh, can I have a little more ice cream? Can I have another cookie? And when it's presented that way, instead of like, oh, mom, you don't feed me. Because sometimes they'll joke around about that, right? Like, there's nothing to eat. Like, if all their snacks, if their favorite snack isn't in the house, they say there's nothing to eat. And it's like, okay, but that's a negative way of looking at it. Instead of saying, hey, mom, can I have more Oreos? Can I have more ice cream? Can I have more yogurt? Can I have more chocolate chips or whatever, right? It's a different perspective, right? So that's what I want you to play with this week. It's like, how do I shift my perspective and my consciousness? So instead of looking at the lack, saying, oh, I only need $300 more. Now, if you don't know where that money is going to come from, if you've already gotten your paycheck or whatever, it may feel challenging to look at that and be upbeat about it. But I challenge you to like, just have it be a game. And I know when bills are, due and rent's due and things like that, it can, trust me, I know it can be really stressful. As a single mom for the past, however months, 15 months, some months it's been challenging. It's been really challenging to be like, okay, my rent's, $16.75. Like that's, that's not a small amount of money, but every month the money comes in. Every month. Sometimes it's like a chunk here, a chunk there. Sometimes it's like that last $5 or $6 comes in from an unexpected way. Like I had a client last week that I delivered something to, and she sent me a $20 tip. That she said for gas. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And that's the other thing, like saying thank you and saying, I appreciate it. being a good receiver is the other side of that, because sometimes the money will come in. Like with Daniela, I would have given her the money, not as a loan, not as anything, but like, listen, I have more than enough this week, so I'm going to give you that $50 because I know what it's like, because I was a single mom at that point too, and I would have given her the money, right? But when we say things like, oh, you shouldn't have, or, oh, that's too much, or whatever, we're blocking our own good. So being a good receiver, like I had a friend of mine, actually not a friend, but like she's Reverend Suzette, who's part of the San Francisco, California Center for Spiritual Living, that I'm taking a prosperity class. She sent me, I was complaining about how we didn't have an AC, and the fans that I bought for my kids, or the AC was in the shed, and I didn't know how to bring it in because I thought it was too heavy for me, right? I was saying how like my kids have these little fans and they're not really helping. This was during the heat wave, like back 4th of July, right? And I have my fan, which helps, but we're sleeping on the couch, and like they're sleeping in my room, and we're hot. And I did finally get the one AC in, the smaller AC in, and I figured it out, and I was able to get it in, and I was proud of myself for doing that. Then I started worrying about the electric bill, and I was like, nope, we're only going to use it when it's really hot, and the electric bill is going to be fine. And it was like an extra like $6 last month, which is really not that bad for having an AC on. And especially since it's a weird room, because it's the living room, kitchen, and all the hallways, like it's just most of the open space is right, so like it needs to work overtime in order to cool all that space. And she's like, oh, I sent you something, keep an eye out for it. And Tuesday night I get this delivery, and it's a pair of like these USB fans, and I was like, that is so sweet. I'm like so grateful for that. So I sent her an email, and I was like, OMG, thank you so much, I was so appreciate it, right? And when I have class tonight, I'm going to have the boys go on and say thank you to her. So that's part of it. And that's part of what we're learning in this book. In the prosperity class, it's called Prosperity and How to Prosper. I highly recommend that you read this book, because it's just really like helps shift your mindset. And the last chapter we read is about being a good receiver. And a good receiver says, thank you. I so appreciate you. I so appreciate what you did. Instead of the oh, you shouldn't have, and oh, that's too much, or whatever. We're taught to be humble. We're taught to like be like, oh, that's charity, that's bad. No, it's a friend realizing that like, I needed something, and she sent it to me. Because like some of these fans are not cheap. And like I've bought some, and I've had to return them because like, oh, it's a $20 fan, but it doesn't really do anything. Or it like, I bought some from Aldi. They were like $8, or the cutest little things, but they really had like barely move any air, especially in a heat wave. And you know what I mean? So it's like sometimes those are the two things that I want you to think about. Okay. One is what do I want to create? What's the next step? So like I said, for me, it was my business paying all my bills and there's money left over after I pay all my bills. To now I'm working on 2x. So one of the things that I'm working on is like, instead of setting my goal at whatever the bill is, not doing that with the rent yet, because that just feels like a lot. So you want to start with something small. So like my Wi-Fi bill is $70. So when I'm looking to manifest the $70, I would manifest like 150. I'd go a little above, because I like, round numbers, and those fives are honorary round numbers, right? And so that's what I'm focusing on, right? And then the other thing is, when things show up, saying thank you. Occasionally I'll get a Target order, and like they accidentally give me a bag of somebody else's stuff. And I say thank you, because I always call the company and let them know, and they're like, okay, well, you can keep it, because our driver's not going to go back and get it. And then during COVID, they weren't taking things back. So sometimes you get a bonus thing, you get something extra, and then you say thank you for it. You don't like shame yourself, you don't guilt yourself. Like even with the market research studies, like I like doing market research studies, because like right now I have a free Fitbit for a weight loss one I'm actually doing a couple weight loss studies, like different things, right? And like you get free stuff, you get paid for it. And it's also something that is helping me with a goal in my life, which is it's weight loss, but I call it allowing my body to reveal her natural shape. See how I'm changing that? I'm shifting it. Instead of losing something, which doesn't feel good, right? It feels bad to lose stuff, even though it's weight, it's excess weight that I don't want or need, that isn't healthy. But it's, when I say that I'm allowing my body to, I'm supporting my body in revealing her natural shape, that feels more positive. Okay? Because I don't want to be skinny. I don't want to be thin. I like my curves. I just want to have more curves, right? And not this belly that, sometimes I look like I'm pregnant. I don't like that. That doesn't feel good to me, okay? And it's a personal preference. This is not fat shaming. This isn't judgment. It's the way that I like my body to look. Okay? I like a soft little belly dancer's belly, not a belly that, like, I look like I'm pregnant and my baby's 10. Gonna be 11 this year, right? So using our words matter. They matter. They literally paint our life. Okay? And so it's really important that we're mindful of our words and we don't shame ourselves or judge ourselves when we use a negative word. We're like, okay, that's interesting. That's what's in my subconscious. Because when we say stuff, they are Freudian slips, right? They are these things that are embedded in our subconscious and we want them to come up. We want to see what's in there. We want to listen and observe our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. We are thinking our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. We need to not examine them, but just be aware of them and then be like, oh, well, that's not helpful. Let me change that. Cleanse our thoughts. Cultivate our thoughts. Curate our thoughts. Edit our thoughts. Right? Because that's where it starts. And a lot of times it's easier to edit our words. The things that we say over and over again are going to become our thoughts, are going to become our beliefs. And sometimes, instead of going, and I've been the person who's like always seeking, what's the next belief that I need to shift or whatever. Sometimes it's just paying attention. You don't have to go looking for it. You can set an intention like, okay, what's the next belief that will shift my financial situation into overdrive, that will create more abundance and more prosperity. And those words too, like, I encourage you to go look words up, because I guarantee you that, like, a large chunk of the words that you're using, you learn them in context and you don't actually know the actual definition. Like, abundance just means a lot of. It does not mean a lot of money. Prosperity means a lot of money. Wealth means a lot of money. See? Like, abundance is, you could have an abundance of carrots. Do you need an abundance of carrots? Probably not. Okay? You could have an abundance of bills. Okay? Where prosperity and wealth means an abundance of money. See how, like, you need to, like, we focus on your words. Shift your words. Choose different words. Right? And then notice when you set an intention or you're working with a mantra, an affirmation, when it shows up, even a little bit, you find a penny on the street and be like, oh, look, more money. Oh, look, more money. Oh, look, another stream of income. Oh, look. Like, a lot of these market research studies that I do pay in gift cards. And it's like, that's still money. Buy my toilet paper, buy my paper towels, buy my body wash, buy razors, buy deodorant. Like, yes. Does it pay my rent? No. But what it does is it frees up my cash to pay the rent and the other bills, and I pay for the other things. There are months that I don't pay out of pocket for any of that stuff. Like the household, whatever you want to call it, toilet paper, paper towels, it's all gift cards. Like with Target, there's always, like, right now it's like spend $100, you get a $15 Target reward. Why not? Why not? You know what I mean? And then use that $15 to buy toilet paper, buy paper towels, buy rubbing alcohol, buy whatever you need. And I'm not an extreme couponer by any means, like, because a lot of the stuff that, like, coupons are for, like cleaning products and dog food and things that I don't use. But if there is a coupon, I'm going to clip the coupon. Why not? That's free money. That's less I have to pay. Okay, that's not lack consciousness. Lack consciousness is when you won't buy something unless it's on sale or has a coupon or clearance, whatever. And I've been there, done that. I mean, sometimes when we have a budget, we are looking at that. If you're looking to buy like a new dishwasher and you have a budget for that, you only have, let's say, $250, you are going to look for the sale. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, like, when you're constantly in that mode of looking for the cheap thing, the free thing, then you're actually blocking abundance. But when you're open for it to come, whatever way it comes, like a friend and mentor sending you a pair of fans for your children, you say thank you. Because I am so grateful. I mean, that was so sweet. And they're really nice fans. And the boys are like thrilled. You know what I mean? So it's like being open to all of it. Being open to all of the avenues. Like there are people who are like, oh, I asked for more money and I got more shifts at work. Well, that's the path of least resistance. The lottery is not the path of least resistance. What you're already doing is the path of least resistance. So do that. And it doesn't mean that you don't buy the lottery ticket. I buy one, a couple times a month. I'll buy a lottery ticket when my intuition's like, go buy a lottery ticket, right? And sometimes they're duds, and sometimes I win a couple bucks, right? Someday, maybe I'll win the big one. Who knows? But I don't put my energy into that as my sole method of income because I don't want to say it's random. I do believe that you can, like, train your brain to manifest that. Like, if you've heard of the Jose Silva method, and Helen Hassel, and I think that's her name, Hansel, I think is the name, and how she used to win all these things. I do believe you can do that. And I've done that. Like, before the pandemic, I remember the last market research, the last networking group that I went to, there were a couple things that I wanted, and I was just like, I want that. And I did. I won. I walked out of there with like 3 different prizes. And people are like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just said I want it, and it shows up, right? And then sometimes I say I want it, and it doesn't. Okay? So sometimes it's just like that whole priming the pump. It's like, what are you putting in? If you are putting things into your subconscious of lack and disappointment and like you don't deserve and things like that, what are you going to get out? That's what you're going to get out. You're going to get more of the same. So start just being mindful of your language and shifting your words just a little bit. Okay, even if you pay the bill and you got 12 cents left, been there, done that, be like, oh, look, I have money left over. Okay? That is money left over, but I wanted more money left over. I wanted to have more money. And I've gotten to this place where like I'm literally manifesting next week's and the week after's bill. And of course, my goal with 2xing my income is to be a month ahead. And then once we get to that place, maybe it's 3xing. I don't know. We'll see what the inspiration is at that time. You know what I mean? It's not a formula. It's just intuitively aligning with what am I creating, what's showing up, and how do I want that to shift. Okay. So another thing that I'm working on is manifesting a new partner. And part of that challenge is that I have a lot of trauma from my stepfather and my 3 marriages and all that stuff. And I know it's not all men, and I know that like not every man's like that, but that's where the mind goes. It's like, are you sure you want that? Remember what happened last time, whatever. And it's like, one, looking at my behavior, where was I not being honest? Where was I not, and it's not even not being honest, where did I not feel safe to ask for what I want? Where was I settling? Okay. And also like feeling safe to receive from men. And we went to the beach on Saturday, and I got 2 compliments on my witch hat from men, and it felt safe. I felt seen, I felt appreciated, I felt valued, and I felt safe. And neither one was hitting on me. At least I don't think so. Like, I know the first one wasn't, because he was with his wife. Well, I assume he wasn't. He's like, oh, I love your hat. And I was like, thank you, I made it. Thank you, I made it myself, is what I said. That's being a good receiver. And he's like, oh, that's awesome. You're really talented, or whatever he said. I don't remember exactly what he said. I was like, thank you. I appreciate that. And then I complimented his wife's flowers. Because sometimes we feel like we have to. 17 minutes, babes. Oh, the groceries are 17 minutes. What? How is that related? I don't know why you came in here. That's why that's really. Oh, the laptop? Okay, one more minute. And then I was walking the beach because usually what I do is I'll walk down one side of the beach and then back to where our stuff is and then down the other side and then back. And as I was walking, this man came up to me and he said, I just wanted to let you know, hands down, you have the best hat on the beach. And I was like, oh, thank you. I made it myself. It's taken me a long time to get to that place. To not say, oh, this old thing, or to shy away, or to be like, it's taken a long time to get to that place, to feel safe, to receive a compliment, especially from a man. So it takes time. You may start your shifting your words today and things may show up quickly, but sometimes it takes time. And really what keeps me going, what keeps me motivated is like, I know that it is partially repetition, partially is looking at the evidence that's showing up. Like I had 2 men in one day give me a compliment on my witch hat, my beach witch hat, which is something that represents who I am. They saw me and they appreciated me for who I was. That's how I felt. That's how I received it. Because it is an odd thing to compliment someone on. Right? And I don't mean odd as in like bad, but it's like, you know what I mean? And also it shows my frequency has shifted where I am open to men approaching me. Because before that I wasn't. So that's what you got to look at. What's showing up? Your life is a mirror. But it's a two-way mirror. You can project images onto life as well as see what you're creating, which is you receiving, right? So notice that and start tweaking. Imagine your words being a paintbrush. And every time you change one word, every time you stop using words of lack, like saying not enough, or how am I going to bridge the difference, or how am I going to, whatever. And you start saying, oh, I just need, $100 more. It's no big deal. And yeah, sometimes $100 can feel like $1 million. And sometimes it feels like $10. It's not a big deal, right? But it's like when we start to detach from it and we stop putting putting money on a pedestal and being like, oh, $100 is, oh, that's like so many hours or so many tarot bags. I used to do that. You're like, oh my God, that's a lot of tarot bags. Forgetting that I could easily, in like a couple days, make like a couple hundred. Like literally. Like during the pandemic, I made the most masks I made. And like 75% of the masks that I made during the pandemic were donations. The last like donation order I did was 450 masks and it took me 3 days. From start to finish. Now, mind you, I had my daughter cutting elastic and I had my oldest son turning them right side out. So I had a little bit of help, a little bit of a sweatshop child labor thing going on here. But I can produce if I want to produce. It's just I don't want to do that ever again because that just really like burnt me out. Okay. But I'm grateful because I was able to help my community out. Those were masks that were going to the food pantries so that people that went to get food at the food pantries could get a pair of masks, right? And I'm grateful that I was able to contribute to that and give back to my community. But it's like, I don't want to do that. So that's where the alignment comes in. It's like, what are you willing to do? Because sometimes you're going to have to do something. Even market research studies, you have to do something. Like I have to wear this Fitbit and record stuff and like use the app. Even class action lawsuits, you have to go out and fill a form. But sometimes that form, I see people, there's Facebook groups that you can join. Just, search class action lawsuits. Like some people make thousands of dollars. It depends on what the thing is. Sometimes you get a coupon. Sometimes you get a freaking PayPal payment for like $34 out of the rent. And some of them take years, drag on years. It's not like you're going to pay, this week's bills with it. But it's like there is money out there. And it's not free. You do have to do something for it. But it's like there are easy ways to make money. Okay? And these are things that you could be doing in addition to whatever else that you're doing. Okay. Like, I only apply for market research studies that align with things that I'm working on, like my health, or products that I have an opinion on, or products that I'm willing to try and give my perspective on, my feedback on. Like, I don't do everything because, like, not everything, is alignment with me. And also, like, if I find that they're like, oh, we'll pay you $10 and you gotta, like, do, like, 20 hours worth of stuff, I'm like, nope. I do have a minimum amount that I want to be paid to do these market research studies. So these are things that you want to think about, right? Class action lawsuits, usually it takes, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes to fill out a form. Sometimes they want receipts. Sometimes they're being ridiculous because, like, if it was a product from 10 years ago, how am I going to even have a receipt? A lot of times, like, you don't qualify, and that's okay. So there are ways to do that. And when unexpected money like that comes in, or it's not necessarily unexpected, like, you did something for it, it's coming in, but when money like that comes in, it just feels good. It feels good to be supported. And a lot of it is, like, maybe your money mantras aren't working, or your affirmations. It's like, look at what you want money to do for you. So I want money to support me. Okay, I didn't feel supported by my parents as a child, so I'm looking for money to create safety, security, and support. So then work with those words. I feel safe with money. I feel supported by money, right? I feel secure in my financial situation. See, you're not asking for more money. You're not manifesting money. You're affirming the feeling that you want to feel. Okay, that's all I got for you today. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, whether you'd like a tarot reading, I currently have the next chapter reading. It's $75 for 30-minute reading. And this is, like, I really feel like this full moon really just, and the nodes changing, the lunar nodes changing, and all this stuff, like, I feel like a new chapter is beginning. Okay, and the Barbo's basket and all of these astrological things. So this is what this reading is about. What is your new next chapter about? And what can you do to engage with it and make it the chapter, a defining chapter, a good defining chapter, a prosperous and thriving chapter for you, okay? I also do ongoing monthly coaching and spiritual guidance, where we blend mindset work, energy work, and practical strategies in order for you to reveal who you truly are, to feel safe to reveal who you are, and reclaim those hopes and dreams that you had, and start moving towards them, right? We work with your words, we work with your subconscious, we work with past lives. It depends. Everybody's different, right? There is no curriculum, there's no set protocol. I create that based upon what you need and what you're going through, and it's adjusted every session, okay? So if you're interested in that, message me. And I hope today that you just choose your words wisely, as they say. Okay? All right. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.